following program may contain coarse language, suggestive dialogue, and discussion of violent imagery and sexual situations. It is intended for mature listeners who can tell the difference between facts and opinions.
We're getting to the heart of the matters on this episode of the Toonami Faithful podcast. I'm your host, Kuro, and with me I have...
the regular host, Sketch.
And?
An editorial writer, Laser Kid.
And?
Streamin' Steven, working the stream, we are live.
And we have a special guest with us tonight.
Hey everyone, it's Jefferies, bringing up the rear, as you just say.
And we're happy to have you here, Jeff. Thanks for joining us. We have a full-packed evening of things to discuss, but before we get into the meat of the episodes, there was an AMA with Tartakovsky on Reddit, and if you missed it, I thought maybe there would be some interesting things of note, including some of his inspiration for this season, as well as the names of the brood babies of Fang. I'm assuming Fang didn't name them, but according to Tartakovsky, they're named Spike and Sonia, which is adorable. I guess that's for sure. Then one's a boy and one's a girl, which makes sense.
Sonia can be a boy's name.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I think one's a girl though.
Probably.
Yeah. I think he means it as a girl. But anyway, a couple of my favorite questions. One asked about his inspiration for the show. The lack of dialogue and showcasing emotion is very cool and unique. How'd you come up with the inspiration for it? And how do you feel about the show blending anachronisms such as the blending of dinosaurs, Neanderthals, and Ice Age animals, and early civilizations inspired by Egypt, as well as the inclusion of things such as magic? Basically, after we made the adult Samurai Jack in 2017, all the best reactions were from the sequences with no dialogue. I asked myself the question, could I make a show with these kinds of specific sequences, and the rest was history? I wish he had answered the rest of the question, but I do appreciate him, specifying that this was like an experiment to see if he could do it, and he did it, and that's what we love about it.
Yeah, he could have elaborated. He could have elaborated on that.
He's pretty short in his answers. Like, with AMAs, you never know how engaged people are going to be. And I imagine, he's pretty inundated with questions, so maybe.
Oh, yeah. He had a lot of questions.
Yeah. Another good one here. What exactly made you make a season 3 and continue the story of Spear and Fang? What was your inspiration for Spear's enemies in season 3? All the enemies we try not to be random about. They all facilitate something in the story. It's not pick a monster and we put them in. The questions are, what kind of fight do we want to do? What kind of action? What kind of threat? Sometimes when you're creating a story like that, you need guides. You need guides you to what kind of creature is needed. I like lots of creepy little creatures. Sometimes I'm scratching a visual itch. I sure would like to know where the poor lions fit into that, because, man, they were brutalized in that episodes, and I'm still pretty upset about that, dude. Just saying.
Now, on paper, Spear fighting lions sounds cool. In execution, why is he fighting the lions?
They're just defending their lair, man. Here's a nice one about Mira. I love Mira's character design and find the culture of her people so fascinating. What inspired Mira's character, personality, role in the narrative? What real-life cultures was her own culture modeled after? Her culture is mostly influenced by North African tribes. Her language is based off of formal Arabic. The woman who plays her, Letitia Ido, actually asked her mom to give her the proper old-school Arabic translation. Her character was something that I felt worked well with Spear because she had to be very open to accept him. She had her own trauma, of course. So she had to have a lot of qualities to survive this world. I thought it would be a good match. It seemed like a good part of the second season to save her. I'm inclined to agree. Here's a good one. The question's really long, so let's see if I can summarize. Where'd the idea of Fang rejecting zombie spear come from? It's such a gut punch to see the driving relationship of the series and the state it's currently in. Fang rejecting zombie spear came from animal reactions to scent, and spear does not smell like spear, and so maybe visually she sees something, but she trusts her scent and it says no. Yeah, that was kind of my read on the situation. I didn't think that she was doing it to be difficult. She just smells something undead, and her babies don't know any better, so they're reacting friendly because they're not sensing a threat. They're too young to realize something undead is potentially a threat. So I like that. I like that answer. It gives some good context. Which creature in the show is your favorite, and which one was the most fun to animate? My favorite creature is the Z's Brontosaurus. I love that episode, by the way. The man bats from season 1 were the most fun to animate. I also love the den mother from season 3. Yeah, that
The den mother being the
Androsarchus. Androsarchus mother, yeah. The Brontosaurus disease, though, that was a great episode, actually.
But that episode has all the ick.
I know, but like
it's so icky.
But like in terms of like it going to a satisfying conclusion, I appreciated that.
Fair.
Yeah. Those are the ones that I thought were the most interesting. Were there any that you wanted to point out, Sketch?
I think you covered the ones that I was most interested in. I did, in fact, ask about choosing not to follow Spear's daughter, and he didn't answer my question. So
yeah, that's too bad because that's a good question.
Also, every time that people ask about like the storyline, he kind of focuses on the other part of whatever their question was, and not. In fairness, he has answered these types of questions in interviews, so maybe he's just not choosing to elaborate.
Yeah, I can understand not wanting to talk about the story. You want to discuss your art and your inspirations. That's more about like why you do these AMAs. There's one more good one actually that I wanted to, because this actually scratches an itch for me personally. Your way of directing action, as I find it so fascinating, how do you decide the pacing of your action sequences? Do you have any sort of rules that help you define when things are slow and quiet, when things explode and action ramps up? I always thought your way of doing action is great at balancing stillness versus explosiveness, not only having great pacing, but also using resources in a way that might be viable for more indie productions. His response was, I always think about action as a piece of music. A good piece of music always has ups and downs, and then I look for rhythm in the action. I'll draw, and then I pitch it back to myself. So I don't explain. I pitch it to music. If I sing it to myself, I feel like it's missing a beat, and then I'm instinctively feeling like it's going somewhere. Sometimes this could be along why we I like that. Then I feel what's missing or what's needed. I love hearing that kind of in and out of someone's creative process. And actually could see that exactly the way he described it. The scene that I was thinking of, because they're really good ones that it applies to, but like in times where it's like, what is he doing with this scene? When the den mother, the Androsarchus, is walking towards the hole, and the camera just like closes in on her swollen teats just like slamming against each other, and you just hear the squishy sound, and it's like it's a really slow 3 seconds, but it feels like a lot longer. That scene is like seared into my brain because it happens right before she starts feeding again, and it's like, what the fuck is happening here?
Oh, actually, I really like this one. One guy wrote in, I'm autistic. Being able to enjoy a show without a lot of words while being able to use facial recognition is huge, lowering the communication stress. Has anyone ever brought up the fact that your show might be the first inclusive adult animated cartoon? How do you hopefully see Primal influencing another TV show to be amazing and inclusive? And he said, thank you for that's amazing. Communicating through visuals is a magic trick, I think, because when you break it down, it means nothing. But when you put it all together, it means everything. I don't know how it will affect the rest of the industry. It has to be a mega hit to affect it. Because I like to watch things like this, that's why I do it.
Yeah. That's a good one too. Yeah. Steven, was there anything that you saw that we missed that you thought we should bring up before we move on?
I do like how he answered. There's not one single one, but I do like how he answered a lot of animation questions and people who want to go into animation and draw and do like that, stuff like that. Because that's, while it's difficult to break into it and everything, he gave some great advice for people who just want to draw, who just want to show their passion. And it is, you're learning from someone who has done their passion and knows what's going through and does things kind of a little bit differently than everyone else. And so I think it's a good read just for someone who, you might not like Primal, might not like, any of the other stuff, but it's a good thing of telling you of how to kind of, not prepare, but how to draw and get better and to kind of shape your drawing and how to flow through things. Even what you guys were saying about the animation style and how he draws a action scene, right? He's thinking of it as music and how things flow, not like how something should look. And so I think that's a lot of good tips for people who want to go into that route or just want to do something with their hobby and make it to the next step and say, hey, or how can I do it like this?
Yeah. I think it's also interesting how he talks about how sound is important too in
Absolutely.
his animation, because not just like he does one answer where he talks about music specifically, but also just like how the sound is meant to where the sound plays into certain scenes and why it's so vital, just having certain types of noises. Like it's something you kind of pick up on after a while, like the mood setting. It was something he used a lot in like early stuff like Dexter's Laboratory, but also in a lot of episodes of Samurai Jack. And of course, because Spear doesn't speak, it's just so, and neither does Fang, obviously. It's really crucial to like have a different element of sound there to complement the visual aspect of it and how he finds that balance. So like he really is an artist, which I appreciate deeply. Yeah. Well, great. I think that while it's tempting to go right into Primal after this, I do want to, before we get into Primal, take a break and talk a little bit about Blue Lock. I know Laser and I are super excited to talk about Blue Lock.
Oh, very excited.
Everybody's
so
so excited.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And they just can't hide it.
So, well, I'm sure you can feel our enthusiasm through the mic. Laser, take it away.
Well, this is Blue Lock episode 4, Premonition and Intuition. Team Z is strategizing. Everyone's talking about their soccer weapons. Well, I can dribble. Oh, I've got a power shot. And there's a whole bunch of them, and okay. But the point of it is that Isagi doesn't know what his weapon is. What they mean by weapon is, okay, what makes you unique? What gives you your edge? Interesting phrasing for weapon, but I kind of get what they're getting at. But Isagi's not sure what it is, and one of them tells him, haha, well, that means you'll never make it. And we'll get back to you when you figure it out. Get back to us when you figure it out. Chiguri won't say what his is. Mr. Pink Hair is just like, nope, that's a secret. Igarashi gets annoyed at that. And Chiguri doesn't care. Several people get all worked up, but someone says, but if we don't coordinate, we'll lose. Which I agree with, but that kind of runs counter to the entire message of the show up to this point. But Kuon has a strategy where they can all win. It's a roulette strategy. Another person calls it lame, and yeah, I agree. This show is losing me. Oh wait, that's not what you meant. Then we get to on the field training, and it's really not working. Isagi comments that if they lose their career, but this is somehow pulling everyone together. Well, yeah, nobody wants to lose their career. Isagi's eating his cheap meal that he's got because not high ranked. His confidence is gone. Maybe I have no
is
talent.
natto nutritious? Is natto even nutritious? What
I
else is
don't
eating?
think it is.
It
Natto
is.
and what else?
Very
Oh, it-
is. It is.
Okay.
Okay,
'cause I
I'm
was gonna
wrong.
say,
Really?
if he's gonna work, if he's gonna be working that hard, at least he should be eating something nutritious.
Yeah. The whole food thing is kind of ridiculous. Like,
Very
It's
anime.
I
very-
understand rewarding people with better food, but
Punishing them
people
with bad food.
bad
just
food is like
daikon and natto is not enough.
yeah, it's creating a
Giving
spiral
Oliver
where you're
Twist.
just gonna keep failing.
Yeah, it's giving a little Oliver Twist, and I'm not.
Please,
feeling
sir, might I have some more? No, you may natto.
Oh
No.
my god!
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
That's good.
Oh, but
But yeah, as Usagi's getting down on himself, maybe I really don't have any talent. Da 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 da. Kunigami visits and is like, "Hey, thanks for passing to me. Because I need to thank you because that's how I like to do things the correct way." Well, thank you, Kunigami. Isagi asks him why does he play soccer because he gives a different rationale, but the real reason is Isagi's trying to figure it out for himself. Kunigami says that he wants to be a superhero because he never really looked up to pirate lords and Super Sentai characters.
it feels a little pointed. I feel a little called out.
I feel very called out. But he looked up to soccer strikers. Isagi's amazed at his certainty because he doesn't have that. Kunigami offers him half of his stake because, well, after all, Isagi passed to him and that's what let him score. Aww, that's sweet.
That's darn decent of him.
It's the most decent thing in this show so far. Kunigami wants to know why Isagi passed to him, and Isagi says he just could smell the goal. And Kunigami says, maybe that's your weapon. And the steak is good. You better eat your half or I'll eat it. Okay, well, they fist bump on winning the next game, which is Team Y versus Team Z. Both teams have lost their matches, so it's do or die. Also, I kind of skipped over this, but we learned from the steak thing that you can buy things with the points you get for doing well, including beds.
Yes.
So that's how you get a bed.
Again, if they're meant to be in peak physical condition, is that healthy that they're not sleeping on a bed? I'm generally, I'm not being facetious. I'm like actually asking that question. What's the logic behind this?
There's some
punishment?
like Darwinism stuff going here, sink or swim logic.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not.
It's not the smartest. I'm not the biggest fan either.
Yeah.
But yeah, both Team Y and Team Z have lost their previous matches. And they're doing their roulette system where each person's going to take turn as they try and lead the spotlight, everyone equally. Lemon says that he'll stay as goalie because they have a better shot at winning. Jigger says he doesn't mind being defender either. Raichi says that if you can't assert yourself enough to take point, you don't deserve to be a leader. Okay.
Sure, buddy.
I'm not sure what that has to do with anything, but you go off, I guess.
I really wish you would imitate his voice though, like badly.
Oh God, my brain didn't catch it well enough to do it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. That would be really funny though.
They all take turns leading, but they struggle to make any headway. But there's a lot of comments about we need to use our weapons. Okay, show. Despite some strong attempts, Team Y's defense seems impregnable. The enemy team has one guy that's not defending. Everyone else is on defense. And that guy is Okawa, who they're like, he's the mastermind. But the thing is, they got themselves put into a bad position by chasing after the defense. They got into Okawa's trap, and he is able to use that to shoot and score a goal. So much for the goalie being helpful. But don't dwell on it, it's only 1-0. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Team Y gets the ball and leisurely pass around. They're running down the clock like a terrible football team when they're ahead by 5 points. The 10 minutes are falling away for several people because they can't get the ball back from Team Y. No one knows what to do. Let's argue with each other. That's gonna work. All right. Can we win? Okay. Either be depressed or be angry. Pick one. But I did like one guy's comment. Sucker's like a date, and this one's a girl who's out of our league. Okay, that was cute. Masagi does manage to get the ball, but he shoots, but he doesn't make it. But he's excited they can win. He gets in the corner with the ball, and he and realizes they've been misreading the situation. That Okawa's not the one in charge. It's actually Mr. Bushy Hair Nico, the Afro Man. He's the man in charge doing all the planning. Isagi takes another shot. He's blocked again. But Gagamari gets the rebound and scores a goal. They finally caught on to what's going on. It's 1-1. And they have a little
I love
back
how
and
Isagi's
forth.
like, I better not tell him I meant to shoot that.
Yeah. Well, Isagi and Nico have this back and forth of, you're not controlling anymore. We have the same kind of eyes, but they won't save you. I'm calling your shots, not you. We'll see about that, you bull-gut bastard. I swear this episode has less tension than a wet paper bag.
Yeah.
And that's the episode. The extra time with the food trading skit was pretty cute. And it's like, oh, we got this. Oh, I'll trade for the steak. But what about my other, or not steak, the curry? Oh, but I've got a nice thing too. Okay, well, nice guys do the trade. Womp womp. And that's
heartbreaking.
The entire episode. What happened? A whole lot of complaining and nothing, and we didn't even have ego to bring it up a notch.
You know, here's my issue with this episode, and then even the last episode. These boys are acting like this is their first time playing this game. Like, haven't they been playing soccer this whole time? And now, like, they're suddenly, like, on the field, and they're like, we gotta figure out a strategy for beating this team. Have you never played this game before? Isn't that kind of par for the course? You size up your other team, and then you figure out your strengths and weaknesses. Like, that's pretty basic fucking shit. You know?
They're trying to figure out, it's all new to them because it's new in the sense that they're a new team, and new teams do take time to shake out. So I'll give them a little bit of a pass. A little bit, you're not wrong. But I'll give them a slight pass that they don't know each other. And if you want to win, you have to know yourself and know your enemy, and they don't really know either.
Well, just the lack of complete professionalism that they're willing to just jump out onto the field and start playing without any kind of plan in mind. That seems completely counterintuitive to any kind of sport ever. Like even at the semi-professional level, and they're trying to play National League. Like I would just expect a better level of strategizing. They are just flopping around and drowning. And even though they managed to score here, it's still kind of like, oh, okay, the bare minimum. We made it. We did it.
You did it. And an attempt was made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know they're going to win. You know they're going to win this match.
I'm sure they are.
That's the fundamental problem with this setup. Because you know they're not going to flunk out.
Well, the other problem I've got here, and it's related. Either the story is trying to say that Dr. Ego's right and that you've got to have the ego to win, or it's trying to argue he's wrong. And I'm not sure which it is because I've seen, they put a whole lot of quote unquote evidence in Dr. Ego's favor that makes me think that is the thesis of the story. And yet this very episode absolutely destroys that thesis because them all acting with ego is what's making them lose.
And also,
so which is it?
Both teams that scored first against them scored because they functioned like a team. They allowed a player who had a better chance at scoring to make a score, and they strategized around that player scoring. So, and even the second team, they even had a whole thing where like, all right, we scored once, we're just gonna block them out for the rest of the game. Like that took conversation. They knew that what's his name was a good dribbler, so they kept him from using his strength. Like everybody else seemed to understand the assignment, but these boys, like, they really have no business playing this game.
These guys are kind of dumb. I agree with you, for the record.
Yeah, it's just really frustrating. And between that and Isagi's like really frustrating lack of decision-making skills. Like he's very indecisive. He's talking about like his superpower being able to like smell a goal or have an instinct on the field. Sure, but like he really procrastinates committing to a choice. And it's very frustrating to watch the past 4 episodes. I'm just like, I'm trying to be positive. Like, the animation's really good, but I'm not enjoying the show. Sorry.
I love the animation. I love the concept. The concept is interesting because it's challenging, you know.
I don't even like that. I don't even like the concept.
Well, see, I like the concept because it's an interesting thought experiment. But they're not executing on it though. The execution is, oh, we need to work together. Oh, we suck. Oh, I feel bad. Nothing of what the promise of the story is really being delivered, unless the whole point is to prove it wrong. But that feels like this episode accidentally is arguing against itself, not like it's intentional.
I appreciate how deeply you've thought about this, because like I can't even reach that point.
My dumb philosophy minor is going, oh, this is, means versus the ends justify the means kind of a story. I think that's interesting. I really want to see that played out, and they're not doing it.
Yeah. Jeff, what are your thoughts so far about Blue Lock? I know we've been disparaging, so don't feel discouraged if you actually like it. Don't
totally
feel discouraged.
Hey, I've been the Lone Ranger on Bleach, so I totally get it.
I totally agree with you guys. Like, these guys are not using like teamwork, and they just keep arguing, and they just only care about themselves, And also you got that guy, what was that guy's name? Chimpachi?
Gimbachi Ego.
Yeah, that's the guy. Like, he was trying. Like, I heard
Ego. The name is on the nose.
The Dr. Ego person that he thinks that he's the Riddler, but he's just trying to give them like pointers and advice.
He is the best part of the show, and this episode hurt because he wasn't there.
I know, he wasn't there. Like, he was like one of my favorites for that. But yeah, pretty much like their teamwork, they just like keep arguing themselves, and they don't even share their skills, especially Chigari, the one with the red hair. Like, they were all discussing about like their what their strengths is, and he didn't bother sharing with the guys. He just wants to keep it to himself. Like, why is he hiding? Like, what's the what is it you want to that you want to tell us that you don't want others to know? So
yeah, that's a good point. I suspect some deep-seated fear or insecurity that's keeping him from speaking up.
Yeah, and you got also the Japanese football union as well. That they're just like it seems like they give him hope for soccer. Like, they don't really care. But only person that cares is Inari, the one with the woman with the blonde red hair. Like, she wants to, finds the best players in Japan, and then I think she hired Chapachi, Dr. Ego for this, for the Blue Lock project.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
but overall, like, it's kind of, I'm not feeling it yet, but probably, hopefully, next couple episodes we might see some change after hopefully they'll win their first game. So
when this thing was coming out, everyone was saying how good it was, and I've just been kind of waiting for that to be a thing.
yeah, that's what I thought, because I do see a bunch of people talking about the show as well, and also I also see a bunch of cosplayers, Blue Lock cosplayers around the con. So probably because of the boys.
Probably because of the boys.
yeah. Oh, you know what? I do have something positive to say. I like the schizophrenic kid. He's kind of my favorite. I can't remember his name, so clearly not enough. But I like him. The one who hears the voices? Yeah.
He's Randy Orton. Oh, wait.
Bachira.
Yeah, Bachira. Yes,
Bachira.
I like him. He's the most interesting character so far. Cuz he's pretty consistent. He's a little well, a deepish well. That maybe they'll scratch a little bit more as the series progresses. Alrighty then. Sketch, I'm sure you're itching to tell us what you're thinking about this episode.
Yeah, like I said, you know they're gonna win, which just makes you think, okay, so how are they gonna BS their way into winning? Because they're not using their weapons effectively.
Yeah.
And Isagi is learning that he might have some kind of like premonition ability, which I don't know if that makes him a good striker. I think it makes him a good midfielder.
Yeah, I agree. I think it also makes him a good, team on-field coach.
Yeah, like a coach.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But as a
It's
striker,
almost like
Yeah.
you need all the types to win.
Isn't it? Isn't that funny
Isn't
how
it?
that turns out? I think you're onto something about him being a midfielder. Because a midfielder has to react to both sides of the field. They have to be able to rally a defense at the right moment and then turn it over to an offensive play. He has to be developing that kind of instinct. Maybe you're onto
Mhm.
something, Sketch.
Yeah. And I'm also figuring that rule in place that the top scorers will move on to the next round will ensure that some of these characters will continue in the story. So you're just kind of putting the pieces together. It's like, okay, so how's this all gonna go? How's this character gonna survive? Yada yada. I'm still wondering if that guy who got immediately rejected Akira, I wonder if he'll show up again at some point, somehow. Who could say? But yeah, once again, we're having the problem of why do I care? Why are you're not giving me a reason to care?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're also not really putting on a good performance right now.
Well, and the characters don't really stand out.
You're kind of sucking.
Like,
You
I
kinda-
had the names. I pulled a U and I went to a place to find pictures to get names.
Yeah.
The only one I can do off the top of my head is Sasagi, and he's the main character, so that's...
Yeah.
And Dr. Ego, because, Dr. Ego.
Isagi, Bachira, Kurigami.
Yeah, Bachira.
Kurigami.
I remember Raichi and Igarashi because they have personality.
Yeah, they do. When you say them, like, it's kind of coming back to me. I guess I'm not invested enough. And look, like, I'm not saying, this is anything other than my own experience with this show. Like, I'm not trying to be like, this is bad, it should be on Toonami. Not at all. I'm not getting into it. Like, it's the sport itself, it's the plot itself. It's just not a hook for me at all. It's not hooking me. Unlike Tokyo Revengers, which has me totally hooked. Like, I have to actively stop myself from keeping up with the next episode. That's really hard. And I love that. I'm actually, like, enjoying the cliffhanger because it's just enough of a bite to keep you watching, like, just in comparison to tension building between the two new shows. Like, one of them does a really good job of building tension and the other one does not, especially because there's frequent pauses in the moments that are tense where a character just stops. He literally stops on the field to think, and then he gets the ball stolen from him at one point. Like, it's like, you're like in the
What
moment,
are you
like,
doing,
what are
man?
you doing?
Like, boy, what's wrong with you?
This is
You
your
gotta
job,
think
do
and
you
move at the
understand?
same time.
Yes. Yeah. Like if this were football, you would get all of the intentional grounding and delay of game penalties, okay, dude? You would be losing like 30 yards for that bullshit. Come on. people make fun of football for being boring. See, at least like I could tell you what's happening then.
Oh yeah, football I can follow. This not as much.
Yeah. But there's one good point made about soccer, which I didn't, I think Ego said it in the last episode about how everybody has defined roles in other sports, whereas soccer, it's a little bit more nebulous. There's a lot more movement. And I think that may be part of the reason why it's just not, it's a little bit more difficult to get hooked into for me, maybe. I don't know. Just a thought. Steven, what are your thoughts about this show so far, about this last episode?
Man, I'm itching to talk about it. I got hyped. It's a show, all right. Not to be like condescending on it. I mean, uh, I don't think I'm that into it, but I get what they're doing. I get and understand it. Like, dude, I'm all in for the animation. That looks fantastic. The
Yeah.
faces,
Yep.
how they're drawing everything. I mean, that little weird CGI guy running in the background, that was kind of weird. But
The
aside from
camera
that,
angles are
yeah,
great.
yeah,
All of that
it
stuff's
was
good.
fantastic. The kind of like slice of life stuff of like how they're surviving in this blue lock thing. That's the cool part of it and understanding. That's what I like about it, right?
Yeah.
Having to see people like, sleeping on the floor and it's like, where's the bed? You painted the whole place blue, but you can't find beds. How much money did you spend on all that blue? And it's like, did a bunch of Smurfs go in there and like, figure
That's
everything out?
that's
And it's like,
exactly what happened.
How many
Um,
Smurfs had to die?
Hey!
What have you done?
yeah. So Ego found the Smurf village. He was really, one of the villains.
You guys are just gonna
Anyway,
give me nightmares now, okay?
but I mean, I get it. I don't know if it's for me. Maybe later on I'll be more involved in it because I was never like a soccer player. I played football, American football, not the other football.
The other
Football.
football is
We
this.
figured.
But I played football for countless years and everything. They called me the
Play like
Flash,
an
even though I was the
American.
slowest one runner. So I get what it is, but I do want to like, not push back, but I do want to respond to you, Laser, about you were talking about like Ego and then what are his motivations and everything. So the weapons thing is stupid. The weapons thing is like he's got skills, but it's basically skills, but they just want to put it in a whole new thing, in a whole new context of like, these are your weapons. And oh my gosh, one of them is Dr. Hyde, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and the other one's got like nuts in the head. Yeah, that's their skills. No, they got a mental problem. They need to see someone. But the idea that that Ego, the show that not Ego himself, but the show is talking about Ego and all that stuff. From what I think it is, it's a form of motivation because it's a thing of like you miss 100 shots, 100% of the shots you don't take. The idea that you need to first believe that you're the best to be the best, and if you just don't do that because if you're just training arbitrarily, like with no goal in mind, just to do this stuff, just to go there, right? You end up mediocre, but you need to be the top and to train to be the top to do that stuff. Another example is in when I was at in college, they had white coat ceremonies for doctors, and these kids weren't doctors yet. These kids just graduated from college, but they were giving them their white coats like this symbolism of going to the next step. They are the best of the best. You are the experts in your course, and that's where it stops, right? And it's this thing of like we need to just have this whole big society in this whole big thing of like experts and these ones are good in what they do and everything. When I was going and doing video game journalism, this is one of the things that I struggled with because they asked me what was my niche, what was my thing to do. Like I'm like, no, I just want to write about video games. No, it can't be. You have to be good in video game in fighting games. You have to be good in reporting on that. Maybe you're good at reporting, on just news or focus on stories or reviews or previews or
Mhm.
even writing the wikis and all that stuff. It's this thing of motivation and trying to like motivate these kids. It's not like it a little bit like that.
Yeah,
Let
and that
me,
can be a really adult question though, because some people
yeah,
aren't able to be that introspective until they're much older. Like
yeah.
that's not an easy thing to pick out right away. I
Oh yeah,
certainly
Right. No,
yeah,
that's fair
maybe not
points.
10 years ago I might not have been able to answer it in a way that made sense, or maybe the answer that I said 10 years ago is not the answer that I'd say today even too. So,
D yeah, Kuro, these kids are teens. These kids are
yeah,
not gonna be thinking like anything else, and so it's
sure.
it's kind of like that invincible thing. Mark, I'm motivating you to think, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to get to that point. So I think that's
Yeah.
what Ego's doing and the show's trying to do, but I don't
Yeah.
know if, like, any of it, but it's fun. I like the animation, man. That's beautiful stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Eight books did a
all
good job.
yes. Well, all excellent points, and I think that we are seeing Isagi get to the heart of what it means to be a good striker and what it means to be a good team. I think he's starting to figure things out. So we will leave him on that part of his journey and move along to what is in Spear's heart, which is a lot of sadness. Hi, you guys. That episode was it
That was
was
a
kind of
tough one.
frustrating to watch, but it was under like, yeah. Well, yes, at the Heart of the Dead episode 7. We ended the previous episode with Mira getting injured, and so she's brought back to the village by Fang. I really love her Fang's devotion to Mira, by the way. It's nice.
Mhm.
Yeah. She's brought back to the village to treat her wound, with Spear following behind. When Spear tries to enter the village, unfortunately, the villagers become terrified of him and chase him out, and only Fang's baby seemed to be happy to see Spear. That night, Spear attempts again to sneak back into the village to check on Mira, but he's stopped by Fang, who betrays him by alerting the villagers of his presence, and he is forced to flee again.
Ooh.
The next morning, Mira awakens and sees villagers on alert. She learns from little Jobu, that's his name, right? Jobu? Say that's his name. What happened when she was unconscious. It was a really cute sequence of events, him imitating
He's doing
back.
some very good pantomime there, I
I
gotta
did.
admit.
I appreciated that, instead of having the language, they just had him act it out. So that was fun. Um,
Mhm.
Mira is angry at Fang for betraying Spear, and so she decides to head off into the jungle on her own to search for him. But she is still, recovering from her injury. So I kind of admire her chutzpah here. Meanwhile, we have we back with Spear. He is traveling through a muddy swamp and eventually reaches a waterfall and washes himself clean. And looking into the reflection, he realizes that he is in a zombified state and is horrified at what he's become, and thus begins to hallucinate at the various rejection and animosity that he's experienced by all of the people he's encountered. Um, and confronted by the change in his and Fang's relationship specifically, he falls into the waterfall, into the rapids below, and is carried away by the water. Meanwhile, back with Mira, Fang and her brood have followed her, and they decide to, well, Fang decides to help to attempt to track down Spear, and they track his scent to the waterfall, but lose him there, and Mira is left feeling despair. Meanwhile, Spear is washed away and wakes up in a volcanic region, the fires of Mount Doom.
Ah, yes.
Remembering the infected Argentosaurus's death. Argentosaurus is the Brontosaurus from season 1. That was a pretty epic episode.
Oh, God, that
Um,
episode
Mhm.
freaky.
crazy, freaky, weird, and awesome. Spear concludes that he can also be destroyed by the volcano and begins his climb. As he ascends, he discovers several spears with skull ornamentation, and before he's able to take another fatal step, he comes across an ash gray volcanic dweller. what will happen next.
Reminded me of the ape men from the first season.
A little bit, yeah.
You know, with I see this in new lens now with the extra context that every monster, every creature, every being is intentional to whatever Genndy is trying to tell with the action sequence. Like looking at these volcanic dwellers, you know, how that might play in, because I haven't seen the next episode, but I find that really intriguing too, like what that could mean in terms of the action, you know?
Yeah.
Well, we'll start with Jeff. What were your thoughts about this episode?
Very sad, especially with Fang trying to prevent Spear to interact with Mira. But finally, he just started to notice himself about who he is. Like I was wondering when he was able to see his own reflection after a couple of episodes of season 3, and then he just noticed that what he has become, and it pretty much also Mira really cares about Spear. It seems that his body is still around, but it feels like he's dead. But I kind of understand why Fang is pretty overprotective with Mira, especially with her child. So that's pretty much very sad. A very sad episode, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, and also throughout the whole season 3, it's I've been enjoying it so far. But I was hoping when season 3 was first announced, I thought it will be pretty much the story will go on with Spear's child all grown up.
Oh, we all thought that.
Yeah, we all
Oh,
thought that,
yeah.
especially like the Vikings will take revenge against Spear's family, and pretty much like the daughter will pretty much like will probably like just to fight off with them. But for this season, they have some good movies, some good moments, especially with the Fang's babies.
Hmm. Spike and Sonia.
Yes, Spike and Sonia.
I expect that this is not meant to um end with some kind of rejuvenation of Spear. I just have a feeling that this is gearing up towards a final conclusion for his story.
I agree with that.
That's just the
Hopefully,
feeling I
yeah.
get. Well, no,
Hopefully,
I think it'll be a good one. I think it'll be a
yeah,
nice resolution.
yeah. Hopefully, Spear will find some peace to lay and rest. Hopefully, someone will save him.
Seriously.
So, and move on.
Yeah. Sketch, what are your thoughts about this episode?
I hadn't even really put together that he might be trying to kill himself using the volcano. That's dark, but
Yeah.
and he realizes it. He is not not who he used to be. His mind is to the point that he's understanding who he used to be and how he's different now. And that moment where he, really sees his reflection, he realizes, oh my gosh, I have a bone hand. Oh my gosh, I have a brain exposed. What?
It's
And
an appropriate horrific reaction.
yeah, super super horrifying. And he sees the reflection in the waterfall of what he used to be, and I'm just saying, who is that guy I see staring straight back at me? When will my reflection show who I am inside? That just had to get that out.
No,
I felt that in my soul, Sketch.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really cool sequence, and it's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. But man, he didn't lash back at any of those people that were attacking him. He's not just a mindless wanderer anymore. He's he's got enough of his mind intact to know what's right, what's wrong. Maybe now he wouldn't have attacked the lion.
Yeah. Maybe he would have
Maybe.
just left. Poor.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
while I do agree it shows a lot of chutzpah on Mira's part to be going out looking for Spear. Also, not the smartest choice. you, you you just had a real bad injury and you're still recovering. But she's going out to get her man. Gotta respect that.
Yeah, she's also probably really worried about him,
Mhm.
in his state, doesn't know what ultimate end he could come to and wants to find a way to help him.
Yeah. And isn't it just Spear's luck as he's wandering about, he finds something else that wants to fight him. Guy just can't get a break.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that the self-awareness portion of this was pretty hard to watch. And you kind of felt for him, and also, him thinking through, I can't live this way. But at the same time, like, I don't look at it the way I look at, Yukio's suicide attempt. Like, he was already dead. Him wanting peace is a much more reasonable response than a living person trying to off themselves. I feel like
Yes.
Spear
Yes.
is actively suffering in every which way, and he knows it's unnatural for him to be alive. There's nothing here, like, he's missing a part of his skull and his hand, like, this is pretty dire. So I don't find, as dark as it is, I don't find his determination to throw himself into the volcano like on par with what I would see from another character's suicide attempt. Like, I see this as him trying to end his suffering because he doesn't know of any other way. He's undead. He's been stabbed, so that's not going to work. Like, he can't have blood loss. Like, there's no poison. Like, nothing else would work. So for him, he's just looking for a logical way to get out of this, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Steven, any thoughts you want to share about this episode of Primal?
I like that scene when he was like reflecting in the water. It almost felt like what was it in Star Wars where Luke goes into that cave to meet Darth
Ah,
Vader and
yes.
like the dream thing. That was a cool thing. I mean, you
Mm.
can kind of see him working through it because he he knows, or I don't know if he knows that wasn't Fang, but it was like a vision of Fang and everything that he's still trying to tell the vision part of Fang that it is still him, and he sees and recognizes himself as that, and he pops in and out of the waterfall. That was a very cute thing of him trying to teach
Yeah.
that was, I mean, to, like, as you said in the AMA, it's like teaching someone to, you're telling someone something, the pantomiming, the as a kid did, of like telling a story without any language, without any voices, almost without like dialogue, is very hard to do, and that got the point across. And I'm like, props to them who they figured it all out, and that must be extremely hard to do. Because when you're looking at it, you're like, man, it feels like I can do that, but it's like, no, that is insanely hard of what they did to convey that little thing that Spear wanted to tell this vision of Fang, that he was still him. And you could see him just like showing every single minute of him, his what he's thinking of, like, yeah, this is still me. And he pokes his head in, and you can see the brain kind of sticking out, or you can see the bone hand. And it's like, yeah, no, it's not you, but it still is you. That is the cutest thing of what I seen. But like from animation side and all that other stuff, extremely like valuable and so hard to get it right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Any other final thoughts about this episode before we move on? Anybody?
It was interesting to just see him come to grips with things. Like,
Oh my God, Laser! I didn't mean to forget you. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. Most of what I'd say has been said, so it's all good.
Terrible
but yeah,
host. I apologize.
no, it's all good. What really stuck out to me was that Mira is probably the most accepting person here. Like, why? And I kind of want to know why. Why is everyone else, oh my God, zombie? They know who Spear was. He saved their village.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, she is
what's
trying
going
to
on there?
respond. She is trying to respond with tenderness. She does seem to recognize that he cannot help being undead, and that she's carrying his child, and she's trying to
Well,
find a
he's
connection.
he's shown that he has control of himself. It would be
Mhm.
one thing if he was wandering around going, I'm gonna kill people. Rah.
Well, but he's protective,
He's
and he
protective.
feels drawn to Fang immediately.
Yeah, he's got enough control of himself that he's not just like an immediate danger, and that's
Mhm.
clear. Why is no one else picking up on that?
Yeah. I did appreciate Gendy's clarification about Fang. It was funny when I was
Well,
watching it.
Fang makes sense. Fang's an animal.
Yeah, that made sense to me because she is an animal, and so her response is, this doesn't smell right. Like, I don't she's not a human being that can rationalize an undead person who may have his senses.
Well,
She's
and
an animal that
also,
smells something that's dead, and it's like
I
that shouldn't
wondered
be
about
there.
this much already because there was a scene where Fang almost figures it out, and she's like, kind of like, "Is that you?" And then Fang sniffs, and they go,
Mhm.
"Nope, nope, nope, none of that."
Yeah. She can
So it
see
was
he's trying
clearly
to
a
help.
sense.
She can see he's trying to help in certain moments, but like she also is she's reacting like an animal would react. The humans reacting, in a way I could see that too. Like, even though he wasn't hostile, he comes ambling into their village. He's very clearly monstrous in appearance. Like, they may not even be making the connection that was formerly one of their saviors. They may just be seeing
That's
this
fair.
monstrous undead creature that's like got one arm and half a brain out. Like, I know I would scream and run.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I'd
I
probably
got a
get my
question.
circle of salt and my fire and just burn it all to the ground.
I got a question. Why do Fang's kids like him? If they can do the same thing, smell and see, why do they like him but not Fang? Is it because they're hungry and they just want to eat him?
I think I think the idea is that their youth, they don't have the same survival instinct. They're a lot more bold. Like, children in general, and youth and young creatures in general, their curiosity tends to overcome their survival instinct. And I think the idea is that they're just like, when they go up to him and he doesn't attack them, they say, "Oh, okay, it's friend. It stinks, but it's a friend." So,
Stinks, but
Stinky
it's a friend.
yeah,
It's
like,
my friend Stinky.
yeah, and
It's
they
the
can
smelly.
play with it.
Let's lay down
Exactly.
by smelly friend.
Yeah, and they can just play with him, play with this new creature, like they did the old creature that didn't stink. That was just kind of my read on the situation. It's the naivety of the youth,
Yeah, their
the
senses
innocence.
aren't as developed as Fang's. So maybe, like, in their memory, oh, this is the guy. This is the guy that we used to hang out with.
Yeah. It is really cute though. They're definitely the
It
breakout
is.
stars of this season.
Oh,
They're so expressive.
absolutely.
Oh
They're
yeah.
so
I
expressive.
did like that, as per usual, Fang and Spear have their shout-offs, and it seems like that's about to go somewhere. And then the
It's-
villagers show up.
It's very funny how they're screaming at each other.
It's what they've
Yeah.
done from the beginning. That's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
them.
But this time it was in the dark, in the rain,
yes.
which happened in the promo. So I was like, all right, when's this gonna?
Mom and Dad are fighting again. Yeah. Well, let us leave Spears' undead sad heart and move on to the meteor of the shows, for me at least, Tokyo Revengers. We're going to talk about episodes 3 and 4, and I'm super excited.
Oh yes, these are very good.
Yes, they are. Oh, I'm loving this show. So, episode 3, Takamichi, who is determined to save his friend Takuya from a brutal beating, impulsively challenges Kiyomasa himself to a fight. He proceeds to take a brutal beating by the bully and still refuses to give up. The crowd initially calls for blood, but then seems to be taken aback by his determination to just keep going. And he tells Kiyomasa that he's going to have to kill him. He's not giving up. So Kiyomasa calls for his bat. I guess we're doing this, you psycho. But that attracts the attention of Ken Ryoguchi, who we learn is the vice commander of the gang, nicknamed Draken, as well as his buddy Manjiro Sano, who is actually the leader, and we'll call him Mikey, because that's what everybody calls him. Draken says Mikey never talks to anyone he never finds interesting, and he proceeds to kick Kiyomasa in the balls. It was awesome. We all needed that.
Oh yes.
Mikey seems very interested in Takamichi and purposely mispronounces his name, Takamichi. I don't understand why, but maybe in Japanese, like, it's a little funnier. He tells him that starting today they are friends, and then turns around and kicks Kiyomasa in the face for running the Fight Club matches and proceeds to beat him repeatedly. He calls the Fight Club betting lame and leaves. Oh,
Why do I like the gang leader now?
burn! Yeah, I know. Like, I'm liking this guy too. That night, the group of Takamichi's friends discuss him having gotten the attention of the gang boss, and his friend Atsushi, who he calls Akun, reveals that he almost stabbed Kiyomasa with a switchblade. Concerned that they were going to be gang slaves forever, but of course, the way things worked out, he didn't need to. That's important, kids. Put a bookmark in that. Because the next day at school, Takamichi runs into Hinata, who very sweetly wants to have a date before her cram school that evening. I don't know what middle schoolers do for dates, but okay, that's adorable. Takamichi then reflects about his mission here, and he has no idea how to keep the gangsters from meeting when, just in time, Mikey shows up to pick up Takamichi and hang out in the middle of school. The gangsters seem to have quite a bit of influence over the school as well, including an intimidated teacher. As the other kids watch and wonder, Mikey tries to get Takamichi to hang out, who is kind of sputtering out an excuse that he really has got to be at school, when Hinata approaches the three and with a whole bunch of sass smacks him in the face, completely misreading the situation. She then tells Draken off as well, thinking that the two gang members are responsible for Takamichi being beaten up a lot lately. When Draken grabs Hinata to, like, whoa, what do you think you're doing? Takamichi immediately steps in to defend his lady, which is super ballsy. Man, that was very impressive.
I love him for that.
Yeah, me too.
Wow.
That was very ballsy. Mikey goes up to punch Takamichi, but he fakes him out and says, "Don't worry, he would never hit a woman."
Again, why do I love this guy?
Yeah, he seems like a stand-up dude. Like, he's like old Don kind of gangster. Like,
we got like a Kuwabara character here.
He's got principles and scruples for his criminal underground. Anyway, Draken is impressed at Takamichi standing up for Hinata and also decides to let him go. At that point, it is obviously off screen, explain to Hinata the situation, and so she goes and apologizes to Mikey for slapping him, then gives Takamichi leave to go hang out with his new friends. You can go hang out with your new friends. That was funny to me. Takemichi seems conflicted about what he knows about Mikey in the present, about him. He seems to be a decent guy, and what he's learned about the Manji gang back in the future, and isn't really able to reconcile the two things. Mikey has revealed, while they're hanging out, reveals that Takemichi reminds him of his older brother. And he doesn't seem to be what Takemichi thought a gang member would or should be. He seems to have his own sense of honor and a vision for a new era of delinquents. I guess that's pretty nice. Draken says that Takemichi's tenacity is a valuable skill, and that's the kind of thing they want for their gang. Later on, when he's alone, he wonders what might have happened that changed Mikey's personality so drastically. But as the episode's ending, he passes by a group of youths and believes he recognizes one of them. Right. So let's just hit the highlights of this episode. We've met the infamous gang member, and he's not at all what we thought he was going to be. Yeah, let's talk about that. Sketch, what'd you think about the gang leader, Mikey, as we've become to call him, or rather,
Mikey's a
Andres
character.
Ano.
I really like Alex Lee's performance as Mikey. Is very, very charismatic, very kind of chill.
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot. But he also seems like the kind of guy who, though he has his principles, he's still gonna push you, and he's still gonna like make you do things that you maybe don't necessarily want to do, because that's his whim at the moment. Like when he's trying to take him out of school, it's like, man, I gotta go to school. It's like, what are you talking about? And everybody at the school is like, oh my gosh, is that Mikey?
Yeah.
Is that Mikey?
He is intimidating, and he can intimidate people into getting what he wants.
And his enforcer, oh man.
Also, more intimidating.
Tough to read that guy. When Takemichi stood up to that guy, I was like, oh, uh-oh. He's like, you stood
so
up
dead.
for him. Not a lot of people do that. It's like, oh, woo! All right.
Paid off.
Paid off. Worked out. I'm a little bit concerned that they're probably getting interested in Hinata because of this interaction. Not like romantically, but like, this girl is interesting.
It would explain how she becomes somewhat entangled. I mean, we don't actually know the causal relationship between her dying and the gang, but I think that the thread has been woven.
Man.
Yeah.
Hina don't mess around.
No, that was pretty brave of her.
Yes. Questionable, but very brave.
Yeah.
Woof. But Mikey's like, nah, man, I don't hit girls. But if he doesn't hit girls, maybe he's a nice guy. If he's a nice guy, then why would he get involved in this bad stuff? Thinking about it. Yeah. What can turn a guy who's pretty level-headed and has good morals into a more troublesome individual?
Yeah.
A lot of things can do that.
Which we will talk about shortly. Jeff, any thoughts about this particular episode? The whole, meeting Mikey and the, Kiyomasa getting his face kicked in and all that jazz.
Yeah, it's a pretty good episode. I thought, when Mikey and his vice captain, Draken, they all started getting scared, and they heard about the rumors about him. And I guess Mikey's pretty much like shorter. Like he's in middle school, right? A middle school kid. Not mistaken.
That's they're saying they're second years.
Second years, yeah. Yeah, pretty much elected. And then I was unexpectedly like Mikey will ask Takemichi, he's like, oh, will you be my friend? Like, that's not unexpected. Like, a gang leader asking a a cryberry like Takemichi to be his friend. You don't expect that to happen. But eventually he says, okay, yeah, we'll be friends, and then the next day, Mikey just shows up into the school and ask Takamichi to hang out. And you got a bunch of punks like they were just got beaten up, and then just Mikey asked them to, lie down so I could step on you, guys. And then he just starts walking on top of them of the guys. And yeah, and pretty much also what Hina did to protect his boy. Uh, I thought Hina was like a nice sweetheart, at first, but then he stood up to Maki, saying that he just like, I don't want to see my boyfriend get beaten up by you. Like, I don't want you near him. I don't want you to use him. And then just like when she slaps him, I wasn't expecting a confrontation, but seeing that Mikey and Dragon are both good guys, they respect women, but they just only kick beat up man, the gang, so that's pretty much like I think they might get along, for both Hina and Mikey, but like Sketch said, there might be some concerns to see what happened, to what was the cause of her death, um what why did what happened to Mikey after 12 years, what happened to Dragon? What happened that has changed? Before all this happened. So
Yeah. Laser, thoughts about this episode?
I like Mikey. I want to know what happened. Why did he change?
Yeah.
I mean, we have a good guess in the next episode, but in this episode, it's like, what happened to Mikey?
No,
He's such a good guy. I like Mikey.
It's a good pairing because you meet him and you get to see exactly why Takamichi feels that way and then why he reacts at the next point. I'm curious about whether or not we see Kiyomasa again. Is that like the end of him? Are we done with this fucker?
Kind of hope so.
Yeah, I'm kind of over him.
Too.
Yeah. Steven, anything you wanted to add about this particular episode?
Let's see. Mikey being friends, it was like with Takamichi, like that felt like the keep your enemies close but your friends closer type thing. Like he's watching them because he knows this guy can like do something else. So if you're becoming friends, because this didn't happen the first go around, so why is it happening this time around? If all of this stuff happened kind of the same, so that was the only thing that seemed suspicious to me. The next episode expounds on it a little bit more, but not much. But I mean, if the guy didn't do anything before, why are you with him now? Why do you want to be friends with him now? I don't know. Maybe I'm like pessimistic on all of that stuff.
The incident that changed that path is him standing up to Kiyomasa and getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yes, standing his ground, Mr. Captain America, I can do this all day. It's like, I don't think you can, especially once he gets the baseball bat out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. I guess that there's probably more to it than just that, but butterfly effect.
Yeah, which is incidentally a great segue into the next episode because that becomes completely relevant to what Takamichi learns. He's still in the past on a metro ride with Hinata. She tells off a group of rowdy youths and makes them give up a space for an old lady. And you get to see this really interesting ability she has to disarm people with a combination of tough and then followed up by sweet, which she did the same thing with Mikey. So I think that's pretty savvy on her part. Takamichi and Hinata hang out at her house, do homework. They get teased by her mom, blah blah. She thanks him for rescuing her little brother, and they talk a little bit about him and his desire to become a cop. And she points out that she thinks that Takamichi has changed recently, but in a good way. Yeah, that's what happens when you age 12 years. Hopefully you mature. So the kids, they notice some fireworks and they head to the roof to watch a firework display. And Takamichi's enjoying a precious moment with Hinata and decides to reach for her hand, but unfortunately he ends up grabbing Naoto's hand, and of course, gets sent back to the future.
Da, 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 da,
he,
da, da,
he
da,
got
da.
punished for hand holding.
I know.
How dare he do that lewd hand holding?
Ruined the moment.
I know it did. Poor guy. The look of horror on his face. But back in the present, grown-up Naoto greets him again at the hospital and wants the full update. They've confirmed now Naoto's hypothesis of him time traveling back 12 years exactly. And Takamichi, we learned that when he travels back, he's in suspended animation in the present. When Takamichi discusses what he's learned, Naoto's very clear he doesn't believe that Mikey is really a good guy. But Takamichi says that the only way they're going to figure this out is if he talks to him in the present to understand what happened before he goes back in the past to prevent it, which I think is a very sensible outlook, provided he can talk to Mikey without, getting big hurt. It's very brave of him. He's growing as a character, and I like it. Naoto,
Right there with ya.
yeah. Naoto looks through his files to try to track down where Mikey might be, and he instead finds in his friend Akun, Atsushi. We learn that Atsushi was arrested for stabbing Kiyomasa, but since Takamichi changed the past, it changed the future, and Atsushi, instead of being, put into detention for stabbing a gangster, he's now a high-ranking gangster himself. Takamichi thinks that he can use their friendship as a means of access to Mikey, and so the two return to his nasty-ass apartment. Oh my god, that was upsetting to me.
Bitch, you live like this?
Throw
Yeah,
your
really?
trash away. Throw your trash away. Throw your trash away. Please. There's no reason a human being needs to live in their own filth. Anyway, he finds his friend's old contact details and gives him a ring. And there's a brief flashback into the past where the two are talking about their friendship. For the record, because it's a little bit hard to tell otherwise, but Japanese second year is about, in middle school, is about 13 years old. So they're about 13, when they're in the past during all of this. Anyway, back in the present, Takamichi heads to a high-end hostess bar, which is run by his friend, and he's going to meet up with him and talk about how he wants to meet Mikey. When he does come across his friend Akun, he looks very, very different. His head is shaved, he's covered in tattoos, and he looks pretty thin and worn. He looks like he's had a hard life. It's kind of sad, actually. He seems happy to see Takamichi and says he's been waiting a long time for him to show up, which I think is very interesting. And so he takes him outside to talk alone. After a bit of reminiscing on the old times, Takamichi is impressed with Akun's big lifestyle. And that point, Akun admits to him that he was the one who pushed Takamichi onto the tracks. And based off the reaction of, him being saved, he realizes that he can time travel. Takamichi is shocked and surprised by this revelation by Akun, and Akun then admits that he's Kisaki's soldier now. He's pretty miserable about it, and he actually hasn't seen Mikey in years. And he also says that he's terrified of Kisaki. He reveals that when Draken died, that changed Mikey. Before revealing any more, Akun climbs to a building edge, telling telling his friend to save everyone if he can before he tragically jumps off the building to his death. Rip
Oh, man.
Akun. Yeah, that was rough. That was pretty upsetting. Upsetting especially to his friend Takamichi, who was shocked and dismayed, and he screams in agony, which are heard by a Kiseki in the background. We see a little brief scene with him kind of reacting. Later on, Takamichi asks Naoto to find out about the day Draken died, which seems to be the catalyst for what went wrong with the gang. And then he expresses a renewed determination to save everyone now, not just Hinata. So one of the things that I like that we glean from this episode, from the past 2 episodes really, but more prevalent in this episode, is that he's every little change he makes is actually also getting him deeper and closer to the truth. So he's making these changes through the time travel and essentially changing a little bit in the past to change the future, but it also is getting him closer to what he needs to know to make the ultimate impactful choice, whatever it might be, to save, the people he loves. So it's sort of like, it's like a reverse mystery in a way. I don't know how else to describe it. It's such an interesting plot device. But I really do appreciate, him trying to dig out like the heart of what initially he's like, I need to save Hinata. Well, to do that, I need to get the gang members to not meet. To do that, I need to meet one gang member. Now to do that, I need to find out why this gang member went bad. Like, there's a nice linear reasoning happening here as he's working his way through to his goal, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like, he was being targeted by the gang from the get-go. Because his so I called that, which wasn't that hard, because they went systematically after the 3 of them. It was not a hard leap, but I love that he figured out, hey, wait a minute, are you time traveling by how he survived?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that guy showed up out of nowhere to save you. What happened?
So let me ask you then, because I was really unclear from watching that. You think that Akun was actually trying to kill him, that he wasn't aware of what would happen?
At
I was
that
really
point,
confused.
at
I was
that
really
point, he
confused
didn't
by
know.
that.
He's
Okay.
very clear. He says very specifically
Yeah.
why he realizes he's time traveling, and
Yeah,
he realized
I
he
remember
was
that.
He said he knows he was time traveling because of how he was rescued, which means he didn't know when he went to go kill him.
Yeah.
I think
No,
Aku might be jumping to a wild conclusion there.
I agree with you.
because
I agree.
I don't know how Naoto would have known he was going to die unless he had been there himself in the past, unless he had experienced his own level of like time travel. You know what I mean? That whole sequence was very confusing to me. I didn't understand.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of just randomly like, oh hey, it's because we shake hands. That's how you time travel. How'd you figure that one out? That's just kind of the characters in this show make leaps of logic that aren't completely out of nowhere, but are very
There's some plot holes.
There's a lot of hasty conclusions that are drawn. They
Yeah,
happen to be correct, but
there are some plot holes that I'm ignoring because I'm giving the show space to fill them in before I get like ornery about them.
It's doing a good enough job with the characters that I can't really complain.
The story, I care about the story. I want to know how this is gonna turn out too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sketch. What did you want to add about? We were talking about time travel. Any thoughts about specifically that, or anything else you want to add about this episode?
Well, butterfly effect. Things are happening in the past that are affecting the future. Every time he goes back, the things change just a bit, and but what I kind of don't understand is Well, okay, so Naoto was talking about how Akun got arrested. Like, did he still get arrested? Because he had files on that, and yet I don't
He
know.
had files. He had files on him for the gang stuff, but not for being arrested. There was a memory of the arrest for stabbing, but they didn't have the files on that.
Maybe it was like a delayed. Yeah, again, that's one of those little plot holes. A delayed reaction of the time travel is the best excuse I can come
Yeah,
up. But I
yeah,
mean,
Yeah,
the understanding was that he was able to, without, since he didn't stab Kiyomasa, somehow that didn't alienate him from the gang, and he was able to rise in the ranks on his own.
mhm,
Maybe it's a good
yeah.
show. It's not perfect. They could do a better job of explaining some things.
Yeah, potentially. Also, I guess since he's basically in a coma whenever he goes back to the past, I was like, it's a good thing he doesn't really have any. Well, he has a job, but they probably don't care if he doesn't show up. But
Really not.
uh, he was like, oh, I guess he's being a flake. Yeah, he's fired. But I guess it's a good thing he doesn't really have anything else going on in his life, so he could just dedicate his time in the future to being comatose. Because
Well, he's got a cop. That's the best excuse ever. The
yeah,
cop can be like, "Look, he's helping with an important police investigation. You're just
yeah,
gonna have to give him some time, mate."
just gonna have to give him some time. Because theoretically, he thought, oh, I don't want to go back, and he didn't want to go back, but he ended up going back because he because he did some unauthorized handholding.
Yeah, it's a
He
good thing
got
he did,
punished
though.
for some unauthorized handholding.
It
Yes,
was
it
very
is.
timely.
It was. It was necessary. But now, I guess the deal with this story is he's gonna be constantly going back and forth, kind of moving pieces on the board every time he goes back, which is an interesting, uh, setup and execution. So I just want to see. I just want to see where it goes. I do wonder. Well, if that was Kiseki overhearing all of that, he also just learned that he might be a time traveler, which is not good.
But
Not
Kiseki
good if he
can't
knows that.
react in the past. He can only react to the future. If he did
Yes.
overhear that.
Yeah. But I'm also wondering why did they kill Naota's sister and Takamichi now at this time? Is
Yeah.
there is there a particular reason that all happened
now that
systematically
is the
right
question.
now?
Another mystery to solve. Love
There
it.
are many mysteries upon mystery.
Yes.
This is a good show. And
Oh yes.
shout out to Toonami for actually putting the suicide warning this time.
Yeah,
Oh
thank you for
yeah.
that.
Why
Yeah.
were you all asleep at the wheel with Yukio?
Holy shit, yeah.
As soon as I saw that warning go, I was like, oh, okay then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know you're in for something. You don't know
Yeah.
what, but you're in for something.
And boy, yeah. That was just, terrible. You could see that the guy was miserable, but it's so sad that he thought,
I think he knew at that point, because he knew his friend was alive, he would either have to try to kill him again or make sure that he didn't bring that information with him. And
well,
he
it's
didn't have the
noble
heart.
in that regard.
He didn't have the heart to try and kill him again, which yeah.
Oh,
Uh
that's a good point. It is
I,
interesting how you see that all in his appearance, how hard his life has been, with this gang lifestyle. Like
it has its quote
this-
unquote benefits, but it also he's a slave still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of Takamichi's like, wow, have all this money, you get to be around women, that must be pretty great. And he's like, haha, yeah, it's pretty great. It's actually not, it's terrible.
Still a slave, just like back in junior high.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
really sad. It does make you kind of think deeply, about how sometimes these kids get caught up in certain neighborhoods in these gangs, and like they don't always have a choice.
Mm,
It's a little
yeah,
dark.
it's dark. That's real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's an interesting
yeah.
thing to explore, and I think this show's doing a good job of exploring that respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
Mhm.
agree.
Yeah. Steven, what are your thoughts about this episode and in general what we've learned so far about this time
Um,
travel business?
the time travel thing is interesting. So first off, you go from a firework show out there, and then he time travels by holding the kid's hand. That was like the absolute funniest thing in this whole thing. That he thought he was holding his girlfriend's hand. He didn't look, and he's holding the brother's hand. And it's like he realizes at that point he's gonna go flashback to the future, has to deal with grown-up version of him, who's like, something he didn't want to deal with. He just wanted to be with his girlfriend, and realizing he's holding the wrong hand at the same time. That was like absolutely amazing just to see that moment.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, um, and then it's like a huge tonal shift. You go from that, and then you go all the way to the death of his friend, and it's like just throwing himself off the roof of the building, which is I don't beyond that because they could have made it look like, he's killing people off too. So, I mean, yeah, I don't
Yeah, there
know.
was that moment where I was like, "Ooh, are they gonna think he pushed him?"
Yeah,
I always
they
have that because I
let's
watch
go
way too
alone.
many of
Yeah.
these shows. I have way too
Yeah.
many of these shows, so like,
Yeah.
I thought the
Let's
same
go.
thing. I'm like, oh, the police are gonna be like, well, what were you doing?
yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, well, we have like all the information of him doing it. He's asking him if he's a time traveler, so something's up there. The thing that I'm thinking of is I don't think it's Mikey, but we have an evil leaper. I'm going back to Quantum Leap. Someone
Ooh.
else in there who is fixing the timeline, doing bad what once was good, something like that, fixing it all the other ways while Takamichi's going through it, trying to fix it all to save his girlfriend. So I don't know if that's Mikey, but you know, things are happening in one way or the other. Why do
That's an
they
interesting
push
thought.
him?
Mikey did notice the way that he was being talked to. He's like, oh, this time, huh?
Mm,
He
There
did come.
When
is
He did notice.
if
there's
there's an
hints of stuff going
evil
on.
if there's an evil leaper, I would be inclined to think it's this dude Kiyomasa.
I
Yeah,
agree. It would have
yeah.
to be.
It's someone. Yeah, it's either. I don't think it would be with Mikey or anyone else, but it's someone that's close enough that can get close enough to do it. Because why would his friend say that he was there to push him out of the way? The other dude's there to save him. Someone's testing something to see the bounds of what's going on because maybe they thought his girlfriend was someone with the time travel because it doesn't make sense. Why him? Why is his girlfriend being killed off? Why is he being killed off if they're out of the group and this was a middle school group? What did he know and his girlfriend know? There had to have been something that they knew that they didn't know because if she was close enough to the gang, she would know stuff and everything. So it kind of makes sense why they would offer. But him, it does not make sense why they would go after him unless they figured out he can leap back, change the future, and someone else knew that because they were there beforehand and seen him do that.
Possible, but I think that the deaths were just cutting loose ends. These are people
Yeah.
that know us from back in the day.
Mhm.
They know things from operations of whatever. We got to get rid of them. They got rid of Mikey, so
Well,
Yeah, and
there's a missing catalyst for these events too. I think there's definitely some missing information here. I'm hoping they're gonna fill that plot hole in. I'm
Sure.
like trying to be optimistic, but there is definitely some things that they're jumping to conclusions that, like, I feel like from what we've seen, we don't have the information to be able to jump to those conclusions ourselves as viewers. You know what I mean?
yeah. And then Mr. AJ Tibb in the chat says, "Who was that guy in the roof with them?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something interesting there.
He said how? Oh, who? Yeah, who?
Yeah. Yeah.
He typoed it was who. I just assumed that was Kiyomasa.
Interesting.
That was the conclusion I came to. I
Okay,
could be
okay.
wrong, but that was my conclusion. No, you make some great observations, I think, but overall, do you seem to be liking the story, Stephen?
Oh yeah, man. I'm more invested in this than Blue Lock, but
I think that's
I think
everyone.
it's safe to say we all are.
It's not the highest bar.
no. But I mean, both of it. I like the animation in Blue Lock. That's like really good and like epic, and they know how to draw stuff. This one is more of a like slow burn of a show that you're trying to figure it out. It's a little bit Lazarus like, right? There's a
Yeah.
little bit more
Mhm.
going on, but there is still an overarching mystery with everything
Yes.
going on, with clues being revealed. So I think all of us might be inclined to go towards that camp than the other, but they both have their own styles. But yeah, Tokyo Revengers is a fun thing of trying to understand where everyone is going and making like we're not going crazy enough to make the whiteboard with all the strings connected, but maybe one day.
Not yet. Not yet. We
Not
might
yet, but
We'll be doing it live on stream. I'm just like
we'll be
connecting lines
twitching,
all
yeah.
over.
We're gonna be putting that shit online. Jeff, bringing up the rear, is there anything you want to say about Tokyo Revengers? How you feel about the series so far? What do you think about the reveals in this last episode?
Well, you mostly cover mostly everyone, but everything. But I have been enjoying the series so far. But it was very tragic for Alcon. You know, especially taking his own life. Like he just didn't want to you know, he was kind of trapped. He had nowhere to go. He felt hopeless, and he didn't want to. And he decided just to take his own life away, which you know, which shocked Takemichi. And also going back and forth with a time leap, we probably might see more of these things in the coming episodes. As more mysteries will be revealed, and some unexpected ones for that. So it's yeah, I've been enjoying it so far. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we can wrap this up then now as we inch closer to the heart of this mystery. It is hooking me in totally and completely. I feel like Toonami has made a good choice with this one so far. Please don't let me down with the plot. Don't do that to me, damn it. Don't let me down. Because then you're going to hear about it here on the podcast.
Yes, you are.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for those who joined us on Twitch, and for those who are listening on the podcast. If you have anything to say about this episode or any episode, you can email us at podcast@toonamifaithful.com. You can follow us on Facebook if you don't already at facebook.com/toonamifaithfulpodcast. If you're not already, obviously, I'd like to think you are. If that's how you got here, follow us on Twitter at Toonami Podcast. You can listen to this episode and many other episodes on just about everything, including Apple, Castbox, Deezer, Google, iHeartRadio, Overcast, Podbay, Podbeam, Podcast Addict, Radio.com, Spotify, and TuneIn, because Paul just likes to cover all the bases. You can find every episode of the podcast to stream online, the same place where the secret hidden message of Lazarus is, because this joke never gets old. SoundCloud.
No, it
It
doesn't.
does not.
/Toonami Faithful Podcast. And if you're not already, please follow us at Toonami News on Twitter for the latest news, views, and reviews, which you can see on ToonamiFaithful.com. And don't forget, if you're not on Twitter, we are also on Blue Sky. We definitely support both apps, so follow us on Blue Sky as well. And if you're not already and you want to help us out with keeping the website running, please subscribe to the Toonami Faithful Pass at patreon.com/ToonamiFaithful. Jeff, as our guest, you get to go first. Where can they find you?
Oh, well, you can find me at Jeff Herrera 11 on Twitter, X, Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram.
Steven, where can they find you? Streaming.
You can find me streaming. You can find me streaming right now on the Toonami Faithful Twitch channel with all of you lovely people. Aside from that, I'm perpetually online, like the joke always. I live on the internet, and I'm not going to be dead on the internet, not yet. But yeah, you can find me MXA Ghost on like every platform known to man. If I'm there, I'm there. If I'm not, I'm talking about Common Writer somewhere else.
Laser, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at LaserKidPrime. You can find me on Blue Sky at LaserKid. And you can find me on my podcast, the Simuldub Saints, where me and frequent guest on this podcast at this point, Archangel, talk about Simuldubs. And we also have you guys over as guests pretty frequently.
Yeah, and we love being on. Sketch, thank you for joining us. It was unexpected, but very welcome and delightful. Sketch deserves time off, everybody, so occasionally he will take a week off. But he didn't this week, and we're so happy to have him. So where can they find you when you're not here joining me on your week off?
You can find me this weekend at Emerald City Comic Con down in Seattle. I'll be around.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. They're gonna have a reunion cast panel for a regular show, which is very, very exciting for me. Finally gonna meet the voice of Muscle Man.
Woohoo! I'm so excited to hear about everything afterwards.
You know who else gets to meet the voice of Muscle Man? Mom! Actually, she won't be there. I've never even entertained the idea of taking my parents to a convention.
I would definitely.
It would be very expensive.
Yes, it would.
Yeah,
It'd be
you
so
can.
awkward.
The usual places you can find me at Sketch1984 on Twitter and also Blue Sky. Find me Sketch1984. And we've been making that Lazarus joke for almost a year now.
My God.
Should we stop? Because I don't want to stop. I have no.
No.
intention.
I have no
No.
intention of stopping.
Keep it.
It's a
good
thing
one.
now.
Yeah, we've memed it.
Look, I've memed on my podcast that we're not on there, so you know.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you don't already, you can follow me. I'm on Blue Sky. I haven't been able to log in the past week. I'm sorry, guys. I'll figure this out. And I'm also on Twitter. Just look for Happy Kuro Kitty. There's only one. That's me. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you were listening live on Twitch and contributing to conversation there. We love that. We also love if you're listening to the podcast. We wouldn't be here without you, so we're very appreciative of your listenership. And that's it for tonight. Peace. We're out.
Later.
My weapon is that I talk on podcasts.
Mom and Dad are fighting again.
I love that. I think Sketch's weapon is he can find clever puns in any situation.
Yes. He is the pun master.
Yeah.
I shall not be outpunned.
I enjoy my puns, but I am nowhere near your level.
Or offline, so we're good.